Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com. We are fast approaching episode 100, but for now we're at 95. Got a lot of questions here, and you know the drill by now. Let's get right down to it. Hi Aaron, greetings from Mexico. Love the site. Thank you very much for that. Gracias. Do you think that there's a chance that The Rock gets involved in a match against someone else rather than Cena in the upcoming months prior to Wrestlemania? If so, who do you think would be the best candidate? I think it's highly unlikely that The Rock will wrestle a match before WrestleMania. We already had The Rock's big return at Survivor Series, and that was under special circumstances. It was The Rock's first match back in 15 years at Madison Square Garden where he debuted, and it was the 15-year anniversary, so, I mean, it was just a special occasion. Now, as far as him being physical, I think that's a possibility. Perhaps he'll rock bottom somebody like Dolph Ziggler or some other mid-card level act on Raw. But besides that, I don't think there's any point in having him wrestle until WrestleMania, and I really don't expect it. Hey Aaron, could you see a dark horse like Zack Ryder winning the Rumble? Let's face it, the championship match at Mania is unimportant. Everything will be secondary to Rock vs. Cena, just like at WrestleMania 18 when they had Rock vs. Hogan. You make a great point here. The world title match, as well as the WWE title match for that matter, are secondary at this year's WrestleMania. Everyone's buying WrestleMania or will be watching WrestleMania to see The Rock versus John Cena. So really nothing else on the card matters that much. I think if there was ever a year to have a dark horse win the Rumble, this would be the year. So Zack Ryder would be a great choice, but I'm really not expecting it. I think that it's most likely Orton will win it or Chris Jericho will win it. It's going to most likely be a main event guy. I just don't think they're going to have an underdog win this year. But if there was ever a year to do it, this would be the one, I think. Hey Aaron, do you believe that when the build for Rock Cena match starts that Rock will actually appear live every week or via satellite? I think it will be a mix of both. I think sometimes we'll see Rock via satellite, and perhaps he'll make 2 or 3 appearances on Raw before WrestleMania. I don't really think we'll see more than that, but you never know. I think a lot of it depends on Rock's schedule if he's able to make it to Raw. But I think for sure we'll get 2 or 3 live appearances from him at least. We already know he's going to be at the last Raw before WrestleMania, and perhaps he'll be at one like a month early, maybe right after Elimination Chamber. Do you think that Mick Foley will eventually go back to announcing in WWE or possibly take on a role similar to the commissioner down the road? Well, I actually think Mick Foley mentioned that he would be open to announcing again. So I guess TNA must have been that bad to where now he's okay. You know, he was complaining about the announcing before he went to TNA, but now that he's in TNA, I mean, the announcing sounds like a vacation cruise somewhere. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's possible that when this John Laurinaitis storyline ends, that Mick Foley could be the Raw general manager for a while and resume that role that he played back in 2000 when he was the commissioner. And I'm fine with that. I think that's a good role for Mick Foley. I mean, obviously him being a full-time wrestler isn't going to really work anymore, but you know, he's always a good guy to have on television. He always plays the commissioner role well, and he's funny and entertaining. So I think there's a place for him, as long as you're not having him as a full-time wrestler every week. How come there was never a Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold Steve Austin match in WWE? Well, I think the main reason is that Steve Austin did not want to do a match with Hogan. I think Hogan was very open to doing it, but you know, Austin has said many times that if he was going to come back for one match, he would want it to be a really good match in terms of the work rate. He wants to have a really good match at WrestleMania. He doesn't want to, you know, stink up the joint, as he might say. Even though Austin versus Hogan would be like the biggest dream match that WWE could possibly do, but you know, the stars did not align in that situation, and I think the ship has sailed with that. Unfortunately, I do not think we're going to see Hogan versus Austin, much like Hogan versus Austin versus Goldberg. That's something that 10 years ago it would have been really hot, but today it's just you know, too much time has passed, and perhaps too much time has passed with Hogan and Austin. But I mean, never say never, but I would be very surprised to see that match happen. And I think if Austin comes back, it's going to be against somebody that he feels safe in the ring with, that can carry him to a really good match. You know, somebody like CM Punk or anybody else like Ziggler. You know, one of those guys. With WWE's history of having special attraction superstars in WrestleMania matches, such as Santino WrestleMania 27, Doink WrestleMania 10, Rikishi WrestleMania 2000, do you see Funkasaurus Brodus Clay participating in a match as a special attraction heading into WrestleMania 28? I'm not sure if he's going to be in a match, but I'm almost certain that we'll see some kind of backstage skit at least with Brodus Clay. You know, maybe he'll dance around and all the divas will join him and Jimmy Hart will join him, and then Ron Simmons will pop out at the end and say, damn, you know, something like that. Typically what they do at WrestleMania, one of those goofy backstage skits where they can get, you know, all the undercard guys at WrestleMania in some capacity. That's what I think will happen with him. I don't actually think he's going to wrestle match on the card, but I could be wrong. Hey Aaron, big fan of NoDQ. Please answer this question on a video. Your wish is my command. Do you think the WWE will bring back the Cruiserweight title and division? It would be the perfect time to bring it back, especially with fresh young talent to fill it. Your thoughts? I get this question asked all the time about the Cruiserweight division. People really like the Cruiserweight division, it seems, but I don't think it's going to come back anytime soon. I mean, when you look back around 2001, when WCW was sold to WWE, WWE picked up all those Cruiserweight guys, you know, Chavo Guerrero, Billy Kidman, Shane Helms, so on and so forth. So it only made sense to bring back the Cruiserweight division because you had all those guys that could do those types of matches. Now, the Cruiserweight title was something associated with WCW, which is why I think Vince McMahon was never crazy about pushing it all that much. I mean, Vince had his light heavyweight division in the late 90s to kind of compete with WCW because he had to, because the Cruiserweight division was so popular. So Vince felt he had to do it too. But, you know, times change. I mean, there's different divisions and the emphasis on the division changes. And, you know, Vince just doesn't feel a Cruiserweight division is really necessary for WWE right now. And if it's ever brought back, I think it will be brought back when somebody else is in charge. I don't think it's going to come back when Vince is still around. And I just think he sees that as the past, and it's time to move on to new things and new ideas. That's just the way I see it. All right, that'll do it for today's edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the video. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW, and stay tuned for more videos. Make sure you check out all the other videos and like me on Facebook, blah, 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 whatever. We'll see you next time.